Now, the African Union and the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention are providing funding meant to mitigate the devastating effects brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic on the continent. The Africa COVID-19 Response Fund is aimed at providing assistance to societies and countries in need as a way of offering health care support to the affected people. Authorities say the World Health Organization has donated $5 million to Africa CDC as part of its support to the continent's strategies in dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. Let's have more details of that in this report.
The African Union, Africa CDC and Afrexim Bank organized the AU COVID-19 Response Fund soon after the outbreak of the pandemic. The fund aims to implement a continental joint strategy to combat the pandemic. Also, it is instrumental to strengthen the African COVID-19 efforts such as procurement of diagnostics, distribution to member states, and mitigating the pandemic's socio-economic humanitarian impacts on Africans.
This fund best encapsulates Africa's quest for self-reliance and our desire to be architects of our own destiny. With African countries and companies being the first to contribute to the fund, we demonstrated clearly that we as Africans are taking the lead in the role of combating this great tragedy that has befallen our continent.
The fund has raised $44 million, but is looking to secure an additional $300 million.
We need to raise at least a further $300 million to ensure assistance is provided to societies and countries in need, and to enable us to weather the health and economic storm in the weeks and months and years ahead. For us to continue with the prevention efforts and healthcare and case management for our people, the fund has to mobilize additional resources as quickly as possible.
Global bodies like the World Health Organization are supporting the African continent's strategy to combat COVID-19. The WHO has donated $5 million to the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
COVID-19 has taken so much from us, but it has also reminded us that health is not a luxury item. It is the foundation of social, economic, and political stability. We're all in this together, and with national unity and global solidarity, we will overcome this pandemic together.
COVID-19 cases are rapidly nearing 2 million in Africa, with over 40,000 deaths. Officials at the Africa CDC say now more than ever governments must work together. IMF reports predict that the sub-Saharan African economy will contract by 3.2% this year alone. The World Bank has also fears of economic recessions in the region. This is why the Africa COVID-19 Response Fund becomes highly important to save lives, economies and livelihoods in the continent.
The African Union and African CDC and key partners are lobbying for more funding to combat the COVID-19 pandemic in Africa.